Hello students, welcome to Marxian World. So as I promised you in my previous video that I'll come out with the second part of Cold War. So I'm keeping my promise. So in this video we will talk about the arenas of Cold War, right? So in previous one or in my last video I explained you about the meaning of Cold War. I explained about various other aspects of Cold War like consequences, causes, and I thought that was very important topic. But now this is also extremely important in the context of your examination. So without wasting any time, let's get into some serious business. So in this arenas of Cold War, just you need to understand what is the meaning of arenas of Cold War. Arena means, to what extent or to which areas Cold War got spread, right? Which were the countries and which were the continents which got completely affected directly, indirectly by Cold War. So in this arenas of Cold War, we will talk about different incidents, big or small, which took place from 1947 or 45 till 1991. Because as you know, as I told you in my previous class or previous video, that Cold War took place from 1945 till 1991. So let's deal with these incidents or these topics because these are important. The first one is 1947, the Truman Doctrine. So what is Truman Doctrine? Usually this question come in 2 marks. What is Truman Doctrine? Harry Truman was the president of America. So this man was the president of America, right? Just after the start of Cold War. So he was a president and he was very much concerned about this thing, communism. As I said now in my previous video that America was a country of capitalists and they used to detest and they used to averse communism, right? So that's why this man or Harry Truman wanted to stop or wanted to prevent the spread of communism. So he gave this theory which is known as a Truman Doctrine, and he said those countries which will stop the spread of communism, that those countries will be helped by America, will be bailed out by America if they will be in any kind of trouble, right? So he said in a clear terms that if you will say no to communism, we will help you and we will give you some sort of financial or any kind of help. So that was called Truman Doctrine. Clear hai? Truman Doctrine was a doctrine given by Harry Truman, who was the president of America, and he said those countries which will shut its door to communism, that country will be helped by America if they need any kind of support. So Truman Doctrine, very important topic. The next one is like Marshall Plan. After that you need to focus on the Berlin blockade also. Berlin, as you know, German capital. And then what happened? The Western German became the part of America. The Eastern one again went in favor of USSR. They blocked the USSR blocked the western border of that Eastern German. And then what happened? There was a supply. The different goods were supplied by America in the western part of German. So this is important, but not this much, and that's why we should not waste too much of time. And remember one thing, I have not included all the incidents because according to me, which are those incidents must be read and must be taught in a good way, which are important in the context of examination. So I have not included each and every one, and if you are interested to read entire incident and all the incident, you are welcome, but these are extremely important and I have deliberately included only these incidents. So it's clear. Moving on to the next very important one. This one is again very important, Marshall Plan. Many a time this question has cropped up in the paper, so you got to be very careful about it. And sometimes students get confused between Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan. You should not be getting confused about it because there are some similarities, but you need to have a clear idea about it. Truman was a president, but Marshall was not a president. He was a secretary of state. As India has a home minister, in America, home minister is called secretary of state, right? So he had his own theory. As you know that Western Europe was supported by America and it was part of the American bloc, as I explained to you in my previous class. So what happened, he said that since due to the Second World War, the Western Europe was in pathetic condition and its economy was in doldrums, right? So he said that if we really want to get their support, a natural support, then we will have to help the Western Europe in a financial manner, and we will have to give them some kind of financial aid, and that was called a Marshall Plan. And America spent almost $12 million to somehow bail out the Western Europe. And you must remember Marshall Plan, very important topic in the context of your examination. Now moving on, Vietnam War. I think you must have read in your 10th class, and if you can recall something from it, that there was some topic in your history book, but if you cannot, then please try to remember and focus on it, that there was something was called dominoes effect. Now, dominoes effect was like that, as I said earlier, both the country were concerned about the ideology, right? And what happened, in Vietnam, there was a communism, and America was concerned about it, and America wanted to spread the, capitalism in this region, southeastern region, or southeastern continent of Asia. So that's why it intervened in the Vietnam unnecessarily. Although America ate a humble pie, it got defeated. It could not achieve its target, and it had to ask its military to come back to its place. So America did not achieve its target, but it did poke its nose in Vietnam War. It is important, but again, not that much. Now moving on to the biggest incident, and you could say an incident which was about to take this Cold War into a hot war, and that incident was Cuban Missile Crisis. I will not explain you this topic right now. I will explain you just after completion of the entire incident, because I believe this is extremely important topic, and in the older book this topic has been given on the first page itself. So that, and many a time this question has come in the question paper, so we will deal with this later, and this is extremely VVI question that you need to focus on, right? Very important question. Moving on, Soviet intervention in Afghanistan, right? And what happened, as I said earlier, both the country was again trying to spread its ideology. And what happened, Soviet Union or USSR intervened or invaded in, you could say, Afghanistan, and formed its own communist government there. And after that, again, America poked its nose, and rest is the history, right? So they stayed there for 10 years. That you need to remember. America helped all the militants there, you could say so, through the help of Pakistan. Pakistan also came into the picture, and they finally got succeeded in throwing out the Soviet from the Afghanistan in 89. So they stayed there for 10 years. They intervened in 79. They remained till 89, and they had to leave in 89 because of the pressure of all the local leaders from there, and supported by America, and obviously helped by Pakistan as well. So that was also a very important incident. And Afghanistan war is the new topic in the syllabus, and you will read more about this incident in the Afghanistan war topic. Moving on to the next one, 1980-95, Gorbachev became the president and secretary of the Communist Party there. And as soon as he became, you remember, he said this nonsense of Cold War should be stopped, because we are wasting too much of money on it, and we are not gaining anything out of it. So as soon as he became the president, he started moving in the direction where Cold War will be over completely, and it must be completely got over. So that's the thing that you need to keep in mind. Moving on to the next one, that is unification of Germany. The same Germany which got completely divided in 1948-49, it got unified. Okay, that's the thing that you need to understand, and that was also a symbol of the end of Cold War. Remember that was a symbol of end of Cold War. And finally, Gorbachev, who was the president of Soviet Union, had to leave its office and had to resign, and he resigned on 25 December 1991. And the moment he resigned, there was an end of Cold War or disintegration of Soviet Union. So these are the incidents which you need to keep in your mind. But apart from that, the one incident which changed the entire scenario and which kind of compelled the entire world to think about it, that incident was Cuban Missile Crisis, which I will explain you in detail now. Just give me a moment. Meanwhile, you can just write down all these points because these are extremely important, and I'm mentioning this again that I have not included each and every incident, so that you may ask in comments, sir, you have not included. I'm making it very clear because I believe those incidents are not so important. Yes, I mean, you never know, you cannot trust the board or you cannot trust the exam, I mean CBSE, but I believe these incidents are not important. That's why I did not include them, and those incidents which I thought are important, I included them. Now we will talk about Cuban Missile Crisis. Very important topic, my dear students. तो अब इसके बारे में बात करेंगे हम, क्यूबन मिसाइल क्राइसिस, right? Very important topic. You must focus about it. Now, before you will study Cuba Missile Crisis, you need to understand about the geographical location of these three countries which are there. One is America, the other is Cuba, and the third is obviously Soviet Union. So, I'm just trying to draw some sort of map for you so that you will have some idea. This is USA, not exactly USA, just to let you know, to make you understand in a better manner. And just below USA, there is a small tiny country called Cuba. So this is Cuba for you. And here you will find in your map USSR. Okay, and this is Atlantic Ocean. Okay. So what happened in 1961, right? 1961, Fidel Castro, who was in his ideology, communist, toppled the government there. Which was led by Batista. Batista government was toppled by Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro, you must remember this name. He toppled the Batista government in Cuba and he became the president. And as I said earlier, the moment he became the president, his ideology, and he was leaning towards USSR. So as soon as he became the president, USSR decided to install some missile in Cuba so that they would be able to keep an eye on America, and in case if this Cold War will escalate to a hot war, then they will have some kind of upper hand. I hope I am making sense to you. So they decided to install missile in Cuba because it was a Fidel Castro government, and in USSR it was Nikita Khrushchev. I'm writing the name Nikita, and in Africa, USA, there was Kennedy. Kennedy was the president. So three players, you must remember these three names: John F. Kennedy, Nikita Khrushchev, and Fidel Castro. The moment Nikita Khrushchev decided to install some missile here, and he in fact installed some few. And as soon as Kennedy got a wind of it, he decided to send its own warship towards USSR warship, which were coming or heading towards Cuba. So it is going from this side, American one, and it will come from this side. Obviously, they both are about to clash. And the entire world was quite anxious, and they thought if they both will clash, then it is quite natural that the third world war will start. Finally, what happened? Right wisdom prevailed, and both the country decided to take back their warship. Because मैंने बताया था ना प्रीवियस चैप्टर में कि डर सबको लगता है, दे माइट बी ए सुपर पावर, बट डर सबको लगता है और गला सबका सूखता है, यानी कि इवन दे वर अफ्रेड ऑफ एनी कोल्ड वॉर. वो होता है ना, हेकड़ी बस दिखानी है बट अंदर से डर लग रहा है. So that's the thing that was happening there. They did not want to escalate that war into a hot war, but they also did not want to show their weakness, that they are very vulnerable and they don't want to that. So that's why they were moving in the same direction. Entire world was very conscious of it. And finally, the right mind prevailed. The different countries talked through, and both the countries decided to take back their warship. And this whole saga is known as Cuban Missile Crisis. So Cuba, USA, and USA. These are three players. I hope I mean, you understood everything, you comprehended everything, and this video really helped you. So finally, I mean, I would just again say, as you know, the norms goes, do subscribe my channel and help me to grow more, because I'm making these videos only and only for you. And do not forget to press the bell icon. Thank you so much.